Here's a piece of me to chew on.
Hey everyone, Peter. Welcome to Peace of Mind. Over all these years that I've done art and music and traveled around the world, my biggie, the one thing that I've really cared about has been, mainly about talking about humanism, about talking about care and talking about taking care of ourselves and each other. Over the year, that's kind of placed me in a position of some kind of fringe political activist of sorts, some kind of punk rock person. I don't know. But to me, when it comes down to all of this, is a question about talking about the things we see that are not functioning in society, about raising your voice when you see that things are not the way they should be. If things are unfair, if things are, if people are using their power against other people, if other people's freedom is imposed on by others. To me, it goes back to when I was a kid. I grew up in a family where physical discipline was a thing. So I was physically disciplined as a child for crying. I was physically disciplined for not obeying. I was physically disciplined for having emotions. I was physically disciplined for not obeying or obeying in the wrong way. Basically, I was disciplined for just being. This was one of those things that I realized pretty early on, that people who do that kind of stuff, they're just wrong. And I wanted to know why anyone would go about, doing that. And to me, that's kind of the ground and the basis for why I got into rock and roll. Rock and roll gave me the stage and the format so I could talk about freedom. The most important thing that I know. I don't know anything that's more important than liberty. Your liberty just as well as mine. I cannot say anything that I know of that's more important. Because what I see and what I've seen, all around the world is very simple. People who are in what they perceive as liberty are simply happier. Human beings who truly feel they have a choice and who feel truly that they have power over the choices they make in their own lives, they are happier. They are socially stronger. They're not afraid to share, they're not afraid to communicate, and they're not afraid to participate. Now, back in the 80s, there was a big campaign in regards of homosexual rights, about being gay. And there was a saying that called silence equals death. I remember proudly wearing this t-shirt as a teenage punk rocker because I thought, this is the sentiment. This is the pure core of libertarian thought and about, trying to do something. Because it really ends up and boils down to this. Silence equals death. If people had spoken up earlier in Nazi Germany, there wouldn't have been, a final solution. There wouldn't have been Nazis in power. What we see today in the world is a great deal of so-called proto-fascism. Now, what is proto-fascism? Proto-fascism is the most basic, fundamental form of fascism. It is kind of like saying that Conan the Barbarian takes over the world and is the image of what is morally right and ethically good, which is kind of crazy, because that's just saying that, a crazy slaughtering thief, a thief is supposed to be the image of good, and that's not really what is what. Proto-fascism comes out of large corporations taking over power in society. If we want to change that, if we want to change anything, if we want to create a society, that actually builds and creates, a society that evolves, and a society that moves forward in evolution, where humans can, move forward. We need to be open. We need to be caring. We need to be communicative. We need to be humble. We need to not be afraid. All these things, they're not hard to do. There's only one element in all of this that's hard. The fact that other people might not agree with us or might become angry. That happens. There are people who are kind of nuts. They exist. There's not a lot of them, but they exist. Now, anyone who will tell you that it's their right to impose on the liberty of another person, you're just wrong. So what can we do in all this? What can we actually physically do to create a change? Well, we need to put light on them. We need to find out who these people are, the extreme right, the extreme whatever. It doesn't really matter if they're Nazis or if they're militant Muslims or if they're, it doesn't matter. Any kind of fringe group that have that kind of pathological, antisocial message, they're not Democrats. They're not here to build a society together with you and me. They're here to sabotage. All they want to do is, tell people to fuck off, and that people are wrong, and that people are ugly, and that people are disgusting, and etc., etc., etc. It's called a projection. When you have too much shit inside your own heart, inside your own soul, too much fear, too much shame, too much frustration, too much powerlessness, you start coming up with crazy shit, and you blame others for anything just so you don't have to act in an adult manner. Well, my friends, it's time we grow up. People say that the world today in 2017 is falling apart, that it's chaotic. They say, well, we're all fucked. Let me tell you something. With that kind of attitude, you are fucked. But if you actually decide to do something, you will succeed. Especially in this case, because democracy is built on doing this together. If you want to change the world, well, you can. It's not that hard. All it takes is love, courage, liberty, communication, and knowledge. If you go for those things, you will change the world, and you will do it in your lifetime. It's not that hard, but you got to do it. Well, that's the episode for today. You guys take care. We'll hope to see you again next week. Comment and like and share our episodes, and hope to see you soon. All right, take care. Alak Baba Sirishan Dirak. Bye.
'Cause you won't find it.